With the 2025 NFL Draft ending on Saturday, the Green Bay Packers draft class has stirred some type of controversy among fans, NFL personnel, and other content creators. But did Brian Gutenkunst have a slam dunk draft class, or did he shoot an air ball? In this video, I'll be breaking down each prospect for the Green Bay Packers draft class and give you my overall grade for this draft class. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. So in the first round, pick 23, the Green Bay Packers selected Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. He's probably the most well-rounded wide receiver in the draft who can attack you in multiple ways, whether that's in the boundary or inside. He possesses an elite combination of speed and route running ability. He could definitely make an immediate impact to this Packers offense, especially with Christian Watson being out for quite some time. In terms of role versatility, deep threat, great route tree, quick feet at the line of scrimmage, change of pace, route running ability, and playmaking ability. Whenever I watch Matthew Golden play, he pretty much does give me Tyreek Hill vibes. I mean, everything that I described is pretty much what Tyreek Hill does on a week-to-week basis. This Green Bay Packers team really needs a wide receiver one, an alpha for that matter, but when you are selected in the first round, especially as a wide receiver, you are expected to make an immediate impact to someone's offense. And if you look around the NFL as a whole, damn near every single team has a wide receiver that was drafted in the first round that can make an immediate impact. Like I said in my last video about Matthew Golden, the Giants have Neighbors, the Jaguars have Brian Thomas Jr., Bengals have Jamar Chase, the Seahawks have JSN, even the Cardinals drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. You need to have a high-end talent impact wide receiver, especially coming from the draft. The Packers definitely need playmakers. They did suffer a lot of drop passes this past season, and with Watson being out, this team really struggled to beat man coverage, really struggled to get open for Jordan Love beyond 15 yards. Matthew Golden, elite speed, route running ability. There is a great chance that we don't see Watson or Dobbs coming back to this Packers team after the coming season, but I do expect Matthew Golden to make an immediate impact for this Green Bay Packers offense. Me personally, I think this was an A grade for the Green Bay Packers. They need playmakers. They need a wide receiver one. I do expect that Matthew Golden can provide that capability for this team. He does have Watson speed, Jaden Reed height, Dontavian Wicks wiggle route running ability. He's pretty much a mesh of them together because each wide receiver has their own niche, but Matthew Golden could definitely make an immediate impact. He is definitely a great wide receiver, Jordan Love. That is an A pick grade for me. In the second round, pick 54, the Green Bay Packers selected Anthony Belton. He is a mammoth offensive lineman who excels in pass protection, but he seems to be his best as a mauler in the run game. In 2024, he allowed 3 sacks and 11 hurries, but he was actually one of the top prospects in the draft with a top passing block grade with an 87.3. He has the length and power to bulldoze linemen for running backs, but can be a bit inconsistent in terms of punch timing and pass protection and body control on counters. He played left tackle for North Carolina State, but he can be pushed into guard in a pinch with potential swing tackle value. As a Packers fan, this pick really scratched my head. We do not know what's going on with Jaire Alexander. From what I've read, Brian Gutenkunst does seem like he is standing pat and probably doesn't want Jaire on this team. That's just the reports from what I'm seeing. It does seem like the Packers are standing pat and just trying to find ways to have Jaire off the team. And if that is the case, I'm pretty sure I saw Trey Amos at pick 54, so they could have gotten that Jaire replacement on the boundary because we do not know if Nate Hobbs is going to be that full-time boundary. In my honest opinion, I just see Nate Hobbs as a slot cornerback. I see Nixon as an every down slot cornerback, and Valentine just being that true boundary on the starting rotation. And if they were looking for a defensive tackle to help with pass rushing ability, I'm pretty sure I saw Darius Alexander. I know he is an older prospect, but Darius Alexander was a defensive tackle that was available on the board. And if you're looking for pass rush help, especially against the edges, I saw Swinson and Jones as an available prospect in the second round. And I found, if anything, I'd rather them reach on Savion Jones edge out of LSU and get that edge in the second round, then kind of reach a bit and getting Anthony Belton. They did draft Jordan Morgan last season, but if you do look at the Green Bay Packers, their depth got exposed against the Philadelphia Eagles during the playoffs. So I definitely understand them wanting to add bodyguards. And me, I would not hate adding bodyguards to Jordan Love. He did play injured most of the season. I do not hate adding bodyguards for Jordan Love. I still think that this pick was a reach. This pick was a head scratcher. I do not know what their plans are for Anthony Belton this upcoming season. There is a great chance that he's probably going to compete at left tackle or probably compete at guard. I do not see much snaps for Anthony Belton this upcoming season unless someone gets hurt. But I would have really expected the Packers to kind of get a player to kind of get to be an immediate playmaker, like a boundary corner of Jair Leaves, or a pass rushing defensive tackle and Darius Alexander, whether that's 2 downs, or maybe just kind of getting a nice edge to kind of light a fire under Lucas Van Ness's ass. But overall, head scratcher. I do not hate adding bodyguards for Jordan Love, but this was a head scratcher pick for me. That is how I feel about that second round pick for Anthony Belton. Round 3, pick 87, the Green Bay Packers select Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU, a gadget player out of TCU who utilized in different areas such as a wide receiver, running back, wildcat quarterback, and a return specialist. He's honestly a Cordell Patterson 2.0. At 6'4", 220 pounds, he has the size and strength as a mismatch for defensive backs to tackle him, and he had 40 missed tackles this past college season, 18 after the catch and 22 as a runner. He is a positionless player who can be dynamic with the ball in his hands, but he can use some refinement in terms of route running ability and being a true X-boundary wide receiver. His ball skills can be hit or miss, as he unfortunately had 8 drop passes, but he was the best receiver in the draft with a contested catch rate of 88.9. This is a little bit of a head scratcher for me as well. I do not hate Savion Williams, but do you get a gadget type player in round 3 as opposed to getting a true alpha X wide receiver? Those are some things to think about, right? But he is a positionless player. I can see Matt LaFleur getting really creative with Williams on this roster, right? Instead of having Jaden Reed on sweeps, maybe you use Savion Williams' ability on sweeps because he does have breaking tackle ability, 6'4", 220 pounds. Rather kind of have that body build on those sweeps than having Jaden Reed and allow Jaden Reed to make himself available in the passing game. What if Matt LaFleur gets creative and has Savion Williams as a wildcat quarterback? What if Matt LaFleur has his pony packages and have Josh Jacobs on the left side of Love and have Williams on the right-hand side and create one-on-one matchups against linebackers in the passing game? So he is someone that can get really creative for Matt LaFleur, definitely help open things up for other playmakers on this team. Gadget player round 3, I do not know. Do I hate it? Absolutely not. I'm all for playmakers on this team, especially with Watson, Dobbs, and 2 other wide receivers hitting free agency after this upcoming season. But I do love the playmaking ability. He can help up on special teams. He can be very creative on offense. Little bit of a head scratcher. I don't hate it, but I think they could have gotten at least a true boundary X at this spot than a player that's a jack of all trades but a master at none, if you're catching my drift. But overall, don't hate it. I think they could have gone in a different direction with this pick. Round 4, pick 124, Baron Sorrell, edge out of Texas. He is actually one of the top edge rushers for the Longhorns this past season, who improved in each and every season at Texas and had a total of 49 pressures in 2024, which is the most on the team. He finished his career at Texas with 15.5 sacks, 26 tackles for loss, and a career high of 6 sacks this past season. He lacks first step explosiveness and bend as an edge, but he is a very solid edge run defender who is powerful enough to disengage from blockers and work his way to the backfield. He does not have elite sack production like Donovan Ezeraku at the college level, but he has relentless motor. He can set the edge in the run, strong enough to blow up plays at the line of scrimmage and collapse the pocket, and has a hunger to get after the quarterback. So this pick is definitely lighting a fire under Lucas Van Ness's ass. But when you look at these traits and watch him play, there is one player that he really reminds me of. He really reminds me of the second coming of Rashawn Gary in terms of those traits. And I know a lot of you are probably saying Rashawn Gary has been but think about how Rashawn Gary was from the time he was drafted and within the first few years. Let's talk about pre-torn ACL Rashawn Gary. You're probably looking at a top 15, top 10 edge in the NFL. Then the torn ACL started to happen. His shoulder started to happen. So, of course, we're probably not going to not get that same Rashawn Gary player that he was his sophomore, junior year. But overall, Baron Sorrell has pretty much similar traits to Rashawn Gary. I can see him making an impact during training camp. It is a full edge room. You have Lucas Van Ness, you have Rashawn Gary, you have Mosby, you have Britton Cox. So Sorrell is definitely going to have some big moments in training camp to get some snaps, but I do see Sorrell getting some opportunities during the season, especially if Lucas Van Ness does not live up to his expectations in the season. I can see Baron Sorrell getting some quality snaps during the season, and if Lucas Van Ness isn't showing up, I can see Sorrell potentially being a starter before the end of the season, depending on how things go. But Sorrell does have traits of a quality edge player like Rashawn Gary, and if he consistently provides those traits on an every week basis, he could definitely provide you every down type player. Great edge rusher to set the edge in the run. He has a hunger to get to the quarterback, does a great job collapsing the pocket. Overall, I love the pick at the edge position. Baron Sorrell does not have college production, but when does Brian Gutenkunst ever draft edge rushers with elite college production, right? He definitely sees Baron Sorrell as an elite run defender with high upside to be an edge rusher to get after the passer and get quality sacks. But overall, don't hate this pick. I think Baron Sorrell will do a great job in this edge room. Definitely learn from Rashawn Gary. Definitely push Lucas Van Ness. And I actually do see Baron Sorrell getting some opportunities in the upcoming season. I really love this pick for the Green Bay Packers. Next, we have Colin Oliver, pick 159 out of Oklahoma State University. He is a linebacker edge hybrid player who not only helps with linebacker depth, but he definitely adds a change of pace speed to the edge room. He unfortunately suffered an injury in 2024 in which he only played 2 games, but he was impactful enough to still get an overall PFF grade of 88.6. In his career, Oliver has created pressure on 16.8% of pass rushing snaps and a total of 23.5 career sacks at Oklahoma State. He may be looked at as a pass rushing blitz specialist in certain packages, but he definitely adds a different element than just a bull rush. When you look at this Green Bay Packers edge room, it pretty much looks like all of the edge rushers just have a bull rush move. But with Colin Oliver, he has great explosiveness, he has great bend, and about damn time the Green Bay Packers draft an edge that's around the 240, 245 weight area, right? And I know he's below that threshold of the Green Bay Packers like in edge rushers. They do love edge rushers 255 plus, but in this game and age, in a pass hacking league, you need speed off the edges, right? Look at Will McDonald on the New York Jets. 240 pounds soaking wet, had 10.5 sacks this past season. Look at Chop Robinson, probably 240, 245 soaking wet, had almost 10 sacks in his rookie year with the Miami Dolphins. If you kind of see what I'm getting, it's starting to seem like the lighter edge rushers are hitting home and getting after a quarterback because they have that speed, they have that bend, they have that elusiveness because they're just light. I do expect Colin Oliver to be a pass rushing specialist, maybe in third and long situations, but I can see Jeff Hafley getting creative with Oliver on the field, adding some speed. I can see during the game where it could be bull rushing all game in the edges. You put in Oliver, the tackles are like, whoa, this guy's quick off the edge. We're expecting a bull rush this whole time. I do expect Jeff Hafley to get creative. I do expect Oliver to have some snaps as a pass rushing specialist, blitz specialist. So overall, I do like the depth that he provides at the linebacker position, and I do love the change of pace that he provides on the edge room. I think that is a solid pickup for Brian Gutenkunst and the Green Bay Packers. Pick 198, Warren Brinson, defensive lineman out of Georgia. He is a penetrating defensive lineman who does a great job at pinning his ears back and getting upfield to work his way to the quarterback. He is versatile enough to play all around the defensive line and should see snaps as a rotational piece for Devontae Wyatt and Kenny Clark. He will not fill the stat sheet, but he can be a difference maker in terms of collapsing the pocket, attacking gaps, and utilizing his hands to work through gaps to disrupt run designs and quarterback pocket. He is inconsistent controlling blockers and shedding double teams, but he does add juice to the defensive line room with disruption qualities. The thing that the Green Bay Packers lacked this past season was getting after a quarterback with 4 defensive linemen. They need a defensive tackle in this draft to cause disruption. Is Brinson the best defensive tackle in the draft to cause consistent disruption? Probably not. The Packers could have gotten one early in the draft, but Brian Gutenkunst loves Georgia Bulldogs. He loves the versatility that Bridget provides. He could probably be a nose tackle in potential bear packages and probably could flex him all the way out as a 5-tech. So he does have defensive lineman versatility. He could come in and out with Devontae Wyatt, come in and out with Kenny Clark, but he does cause disruptions. A great game that if you want to watch is the Georgia versus Texas game. Brinson was pretty much all over the place, and 9 times out of 10, when you're watching a Georgia game, if you saw an offensive lineman get knocked back, if you saw a Georgia Bulldog shoot the gaps, or saw a defensive lineman work his way to the backfield, 9 times out of 10, it was Warren Brinson. He has great disruption qualities, and this is what this team needs. We saw how subpar this pass rush was with 4 defensive linemen. Hopefully Warren Brinson could add more juice, add more disruption. So overall, solid pickup as a rotation snap. I do not see him beating out Wyatt. I do not see him beating out Kenny Clark, but we should definitely see Wyatt and Clark getting a breather during the game and having Brinson show out his capabilities. But overall, a great disrupting defensive tackle in the draft. They got some value, and they love Georgia Bulldogs, so they were able to pick up Warren Brinson towards the end. Pick 237, Micah Robinson, 5'11", 184-pound cornerback out of Tulane, who possesses NFL top-end speed, but lacks short area quickness to play the slot. He is versatile to play press man and off-man coverage with good closing ability to disrupt passes. He is a transfer out of Furnham. He did have 2 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6, and a team high of 6 pass breakups in his lone season at Tulane. He is an excellent run defender as he made 8 run stops in 2024 and did not miss a tackle. I have a little bit of a concern of how confident this Packers team is with the cornerback room if they were to let Jair go. They let Jair go, you're looking at a starting rotation of Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, Keshawn Nixon, with your depth being Holman, Micah Robinson, and Kalen King. This is the 3rd straight year that the Green Bay Packers have selected a cornerback in the 7th round. At this point in the 7th round, you're pretty much trying to find hidden gems, trying to find, a shot in the dark to see if they can pan out. But if Jair leaves, I do not know how I feel about this pick, especially this late in the draft. I did expect the Green Bay Packers to get high-end talent cornerbacks early in the draft if the expectation is to let Jair go. Did not expect them to select one cornerback all the way out back into the 7th round. A little bit of a head scratcher. I do not know much about Micah Robinson. I do know that he did not really fit the measurables that they look for a cornerback. I mean, they do love cornerbacks that are like 190 plus. Micah was 184. They do love corners that run a sub 4.40. Micah run, I believe, a 4.4540 during his pro day. He was snubbed at the NFL Combine, so he did not have any Combine results, but a little bit of a head scratcher for the Green Bay Packers to wait this long to get a corner. I don't hate Micah Robinson. I don't know much about Micah Robinson, but if Jair leaves, this is not a good starting group or great depth that the Packers are going to have in that cornerback room. So I do have some concerns about it, but winning this late to get a cornerback in the 7th round has my head scratching a little bit. And then last but not least, at pick 250, the Green Bay Packers select John Williams, tackle out of Cincinnati. He allowed 3 sacks in the past 2 seasons, all while playing left tackle, while also being a very effective zone blocker in the run game. He is not a consistent mauler like Belton by any means, but does a great job sealing linemen to help open up running lanes and has quickness to establish initial contact. He has NFL caliber footwork and pass blocking instincts, but he needs to work on body control to haul and move NFL defensive linemen. He has the size, length, and mobility to play both tackle positions and guard in the NFL level. Watching the Green Bay Packers double dip on the offensive line in this draft tells me a few things. It tells me that they really want to get the running game strong. Adding big bodies like John Williams and Belton in the draft, it seems like they really, really want to beef up the offensive lineman and get that running game going. 2, they do not trust the depth that they had prior to the draft. So by doubling up on offensive linemen, looks like they have no faith in the depth on the offensive line, especially of how they looked against the Philadelphia Eagles. And 3, this pretty much tells me that the time of Rasheed Walker and Sean Ryan is coming to an end, and it's probably their last season, and Zach Tom will get the bag, and he'll be the only lineman that will get the bag, and the other 2 will be hitting free agency. So the Packers double dip the wide receiver position, adding playmakers, double dip on the offensive lineman, adding more beef, adding more bodyguards to protect Jordan Love, get the run in going, and get the depth going of the offensive lineman. They got an edge, Baron Sorrell, a blitz pass rushing specialist in Colin Oliver, the versatile defensive lineman in Brinson, and Michael Robinson, corner out of Tulane. So overall, when you look at this Green Bay Packers draft class, the only person on this team that's going to make an immediate impact is Matthew Golden. I do see him being a starting wide receiver for this Packers team, especially with Watson being out. I do like his playmaking ability, and I feel like Matthew Golden traits fits Jordan Love's gunslinging ability. So I do expect Jordan Love to air the ball out a lot, especially when I have Williams on the field, Matthew Golden on the field. But double dipping wide receivers, it does tell me that maybe Watson and Dobbs' time is gone, and probably have Williams and Golden as the future playmakers for the wide receiver core. But looking at this draft class, it seems like the Green Bay Packers were just focusing on adding depth and creating competition through this draft class. There are a lot of content creators that are giving the Packers a C grade in this draft class, but the Green Bay Packers do not have any major holes on this team. If Jair leaves, yes, the quarterback boundary position is a definitely need. They do need a 2-down defensive lineman to replace TJ Slayton. They do need an alpha wide receiver in this team, but what they fail to recognize is that the Green Bay Packers don't have major holes on this team. All 8 of them are not going to make an immediate impact. The only person that's going to have true, meaningful snaps is Matthew Golden to help out this wide receiver core, especially with Watson being out. But other than that, everyone here is just depth. Everyone here is just creating competition, because after this upcoming season, you're probably looking at about 10 players hitting free agency and maybe 3 or 4 coming back. Brian Gutenkunst loves to think ahead. He loves to think about the future and drafting so that he's not in oh crap mode and now it's too late to get someone that you need to fill in the blanks. But overall, I'm going to give this draft class a B. I think A might be a bit too rich. I think C, I think you're disregarding a few things about how the Green Bay Packers team is structured. I think a solid B grade is definitely appropriate for this draft class, very appropriate for the kind of holes the Green Bay Packers have, and very appropriate for them adding quality depth pieces and definitely long-term and adding competition at all areas of this team. But overall, I give this Green Bay Packers a solid B grade. But let me know your thoughts on this Green Bay Packers draft class. Is there anything else I could have done differently? But overall, let me know in the comment section below, and thank you so much, and catch you guys next time.